Well, hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where you are in this beautiful universe, on this beautiful planet we call Earth. How is everybody today? How's everybody doing? Happy Sunday brunch. So, has everybody had a good weekend? Is everybody cooling off from all this heat? It's going to be 101 degrees today in beautiful downtown Portland, Oregon. That is where I'm broadcasting from somewhere live in the heart of downtown Portland, Oregon, the greatest city on earth. So happy to have everybody here. My name is Whimsy. Today is Sunday, August 7th. We are getting very close to August 15th. We're going to be talking a little bit about what kind of things we're going to be seeing around mid-August. We've talked a lot about that in the past. We have quite a few subjects. Also, if you have questions for me today that you want to do during the Blitz hour, absolutely. That would be awesome. So we're going to spend about an hour and a half here. Like I said, my name is Whimsy. And on Sundays, my alter ego, the Oracle of Whimsy, shows up. We play, we have fun, we play with the tarot cards, we talk politics, we raise money for a charity. Today's charity is feedamerica.org. That's one of our charities that we're going for. It's summertime, so we also are doing a lot with the environment. Let me know what charities you would like to see in the future. But because of inflation, the last few months, as people know, we've been focusing our fundraisers on making sure that people are fed. We've also been putting a lot of money towards relief for people displaced because of the war in Ukraine. So that is what is going on in my neck of the woods. I would love it if you would tell me a little bit about who you are. Where are you right now? What city are you in? What time of day is it? What you eating? Are you having brunch? I know for myself that because it's hot, 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 I've switched to an iced latte. And I'm having a little ice water as well. Good idea when you're dealing with this kind of heat to just ask yourself, have I been drinking enough water? You can also get yourself some nice electrolytes. Coconut water can be helpful. So just a little reminder to everybody, just make sure you're staying hydrated during this hot season. Thank you so much, Sam Nomad. He's the first to jump in with a donation of $20 for feedingamerica.org. Thank you so much. So now I just want to turn things over to you and give gratitude to everybody who decided to show up today, starting with Pamela Doss, a loyal member in Southern California. Boy, I hope you guys are staying cool and that your fires are not getting too out of control. It can be very scary over there. Hi, Alexandra Montclair, also in Oregon. Lovely. Yeah, we're having some hot weather today, aren't we? Oh, a hug so tight. Man, do I like that. Everyone's okay, great, but where are you? And are you eating anything? Oh, looks like Pamela's having one of my favorites, which is protein and greens by the company Paradise. The cheapest way to get it is iHerbs. No, I don't make any money off of it. I just tell people the truth, but I think it's the most cost-effective, nutrient-dense smoothie you can do is protein and greens. It's you should look at the ingredients. It's insane. Hi, Dana Terry. How you doing? Good to see you. Hi, Copper Broom. Hi, Sid. Hi, Susan. Debbie Brady. Oh, I can't live without this woman. She's one of those people that she makes you love her. You make me love you. She's so helpful, and we are so grateful she is here working on behalf of keeping the channel kosher. Hi, Lisa Prochelle, Angela Bruce, good to see you. She's in the UK settling down. Oh, are you having a little bit of tea or a glass of port before you retire, Angela? Let us know. I think we'll continue to say hi to everybody. Hi, MK Karen M. Thank you for your help today, or I mean for your membership, excuse me. And Mark Rhodes, thank you for your help today and sending us all those beautiful rainbows. Much appreciated. Melissa Miller in the house, always very helpful. So, oh, we got someone from Woodinville, Washington, having salmon and scrambled eggs. And if you get a random knock on your door, that would be me, person in Woodville, Washington. That sounds absolutely delicious. Another anonymous donation coming in for feedamerica.org. So much gratitude. Thank you, folks. So, what do you want to talk about? You know, it's a this is a weird time. We've got a lot of remotes. We've got a lot to talk about. So we're going to go right into the remote views for the week. And absolutely, this is a conversation. Make sure to turn and say hi to the person to the right and to the left of you in this virtual brunch talk. We really encourage people in our community to reach out, get to know each other, maybe figure out some way to hang out. I know some of you have connected in other ways. If you're also HCRV practitioners doing remote viewing, it's also great to connect with other remote viewers and start comparing your research, because we're now entering into a new time in human history, aren't we? It's like everybody has gotten with the program. It's like everybody's gotten with the program, but people are a little freaked out. We're not freaked out because we've been ready, right? Janice Adams is having one of my favorite meals. I love turkey and mashed potatoes. Get yourself a little gravy going on there. And I actually love stuffing. Not everybody does, but I do. Oh, Meghan and Harry. Yes. I didn't expect that to be the first remote view, but we can go ahead and talk about it because we did remote view Harry and Meghan. First off, the Duchess has had a birthday. Is she 41 now? How old is she? 40? So we want to wish the Duchess, Meghan Markle, a very happy birthday. That's the first thing. I know that we share in wishing her a happy birthday along with Prince William and his wife, Kate. So the energy, we know that Meghan Markle was having some problems, her and her husband, because, here's what the energy feels like when you go into the royals right now. There's just a feeling of grief and sadness that something that should have been so positive was turned into something so unbelievably toxic by people who have nothing whatsoever to do with Meghan Markle, with Harry, with this family. And it's been really interesting to go into the energy. As a lot of you know, I lived in West Hollywood for about 15 years, and Meghan Markle is also from West Hollywood. So it's a small community, actors, we tend to vote. It's about 99% Democrat, not that high, but very high Democrat. So you're talking about a culture. West Hollywood is a culture. West Hollywood, Portland, Oregon, Berkeley, Seattle. We are the West Coast culture, the West Coast mentality. The more you go into this energy, it's just a feeling that Britain couldn't handle the West Hollywood moving into. It was really, I think, a conflict between the culture of West Hollywood and the culture of. Look, I don't think West Hollywood culture is perfect either. I mean, I used to be annoyed by West Hollywood culture. I mean, people tend to spend too much time worrying about how they look, for example, but they're actors, so they have to worry about stuff like that. But I think it was really a conflict between the right and the left energetically, and that is really the heart and the soul of why this disruption happened, because When I had a lucid dream. One of the things we talked about in previous conversations, but yesterday we had a conversation about how lucid dreams happen, what are lucid dreams, how we enter into a world that's just as real as this world when we enter into the dream state, but the rules are different in the dream state. Time doesn't exist there in the same way that we are bound to time in this dimension. And people tend to be unmasked in the dream world, in dream time. So the first time I had any contact with Meghan and Harry was in a lucid dream. And in the lucid dream, Harry and Meghan were at the Invictus Games, and it was the first time that they had officially come out as a couple. And people were in line to meet Prince Harry, and I was one of the people in line to meet Prince Harry in the lucid dream. And I went up to shake his hand and I wished him congratulations. Yay, one of our girls made it. I'm proud. I'm a West Hollywood, one of our girls made it. So in the dream, I got to talking to Harry, and out of the blue, he forgot that he was working. It was like he forgot that he was working as a royal, and he let the mask down. And in the dream, he looked at me and said, "Do you know how hard it is for a working man to get ahead?" That's literally what he said to me. He said, "Considering the political situation in Britain right now, do you know how hard it is for a working man to get ahead?" And I looked at Harry like, "Who the hell are you? Like, who is this guy? Like, how would you even know that? And why would somebody in your position be talking to me about democratic socialism?" It was a very weird, and I thought, "Who are you?" And as soon as that interaction happened in the lucid dream, the look on his face was like he completely pulled back, and it was like this gray wall. And it was like the conversation was over, and then he moved on to greet the next people. He went on, and it was like that. Boom. That was my first energetic introduction to Harry. I didn't know that years later I'd be doing all that. He'd be wakey, wakey. Well, now that you've had psychic contact with me, let's put you to work, Whims. Well, we're leaving Britain. We can't take it anymore. So that's how we found out about him and Harry moving to the United States, and the fact she and he told us everything. By the way, they had a really great relationship, but the point comes when you can't take it anymore. And so they were going to do everything in their power. And I think a lot of the animosity came from Charles' father, Philip, who seemed to be one of the great agitators. He was kind of the right-wing racist agitator in the family, and he had like this wing of people helping him. So you have this new book written about Meghan Markle, and it's written by people that supported the old guard under Prince Philip. So that's what we're looking at. And why are they supporting it? And why are they so angry and offended by Meghan? They're offended by her West Hollywood essence. They're not offended by her lack of education. She had an excellent education, private school. I mean, this girl knows. Like I said, I'm just the servant, right? When I interact with someone like Meghan Markle, it's because I'm putting oat milk in her cart, right? So I'm not claiming that I'm having tea with these people or anything, but I worked for a couple of years at Irwan Natural Foods Market as the medical consultant. So I would do that. I would show people what the most nutrient dense foods are, and they would have a doctor come in and educate people. So that's what I did for the quote unquote actors, celebrities. And I did it for years. I mean, I did it for like 10 years in West Hollywood. So we would meet people like Meghan and whatnot. In the entire time that I worked in West Hollywood as a physician, there wasn't a single rumor that Meghan was a bad person. Just didn't happen. She wasn't loud. She wasn't obnoxious. She wasn't narcissistic. She was quiet and shy. Sometimes she wore her glasses. She would go and do yoga every Sunday, and then afterwards, sometimes she would go with her mom, and then afterwards they would come in to Earth Bar on Sunday, and she would get her Berry Slim smoothie, which is low carb. I've tried it. I tried it because she had it, so I wanted to try it. It's okay. We're talking about years of these people in the neighborhood living their lives, and we don't see a problem. So I think what happened, well, like I said, was cultural. It was a conflict between the left and the right. And I think based on the lucid dream I had with Harry, that really opened my eyes to what the conflict was. That he was a lefty, that his wife was a lefty, that they belonged in West Hollywood, that he wanted to go and dance in an open fire and connect with his inner anima in Australia. Like these are and do his yoga with his beautiful wife. And so it was like they were tortured and abused just because they fell in love and because they're Californians. That was basically the conclusion of my report. Going forward with the energy, I think that they're going to heal a lot of things because in a lot of ways, Charles admires Harry because what Charles has started to realize in his deepest heart is, but I'm a liberal. But I believe in that. I believe in the environment. I don't believe in discrimination. So what you're doing is you're helping abuse your son by propping up the very policies that made your life hell because of who your father was. So here's the great news for you, Charles. You're free too now. And you get to be the next king. So what we're seeing energetically now with the royals is this processing like, wait a minute. Philip's gone. Mom's a liberal too. We have a real, just like my son said, gosh, I'm proud of my son. He did it all on his own. He's right. We've got a hell of an opportunity here. So this is the flip. And so that's the fifth dimension. So I didn't expect to spend a lot of time with it, but it was the first question. And that is basically going forward the gift that Meghan gives Harry and the family. There's grief there. I mean, like Harry doesn't understand why everybody's so mad at him that I got clean and sober. I fell in love. I got into yoga and healthy living. My wife's beautiful. I got 2 beautiful kids. What's the problem? The problem is you're not a conservative. All right. Any questions about that? I think it is relevant because I think it speaks to the international feeling that we went so far to the right and now we're moving back to the left, and I think that this was the archetype of that. The bots, the fact that racists were getting together and just attacking her because it became this righteous racist movement where the right wing was going to go after those lefties. I think if you don't see the greater picture, but I can just say, and I've been saying this for years as someone who lived and worked in West Hollywood, that we personally never saw a problem. So it was just, I think it was just marketing from right wing tabloids. Okay, so a couple interesting things going on. It looks like, remember when we'll go into the Trump stuff now. We're going to get into some blitzes in about 10 minutes. We do about 30 minutes of remote views. The other thing I want to talk a little bit about is Mark Meadows flipping. Does anybody know about the fact that Glenn Kushner has been talking about, let me go ahead and, oops, I'll pin this for you guys. So Mark Meadows, there has been advice, according to Glenn Kushner, that Trump has been calling people. He's been calling people. He's been robo-calling people. And it's now out that his lawyers have basically ordered Trump to stop calling people. Remember the remote view where I said they took his phone away? After he began calling people, and then it leaked that he was calling people, and then they had to report it to the Justice Department. You guys remember that? So So we got into the remote, and that's what we found. And so now what's happened is we have the flip happening with Mark Meadows. We also we were able to access information through HCRV. We located that what appeared to be missing documents or documents that had been destroyed or covered up. And we felt that as the heat was on these agencies, these documents would be destroyed, and that by destroying the documents, that would be considered an act of guilt by investigators. And then when we followed the thread of the investigation after it broke with the Secret Service, we found that it was taken back to DHS, and from DHS, we followed another string to the Pentagon. Do y'all remember that? So now it looks like Mark Meadows has flipped. Trump was calling him. His lawyers told him to stop calling. And then the words they used is no contact of the fall guy. And so it goes back again to the remote that we had talked about, where when I went into remotes on Mark Meadows, he was being set up to be the fall guy. So what happened was Mark Meadows figured it out and cut a deal with Department of Justice, basically probably handing over his phone communications between him and Chad Wolf of DHS. And then, of course, Chad Wolf DHS, which was destroyed, but we can then try and figure out what his communications were with the Pentagon. Anybody want to open up the floor to talk about that and how that's kind of playing out? I wish I had gotten more of the communications. I was able to crack a little bit of the information that was coming in from InfoWars, and I did locate some communication that was taking place between Roger Stone that appeared to be coordination. If I were to give a report, if I were working for the feds, I would say that it looked like a coordination. So we do now have the phone communications between Roger Stone and Mark Meadows, but also Roger Stone and InfoWars, and it appears that it was in fact coordination. What's interesting, I think, also as a remote viewer, is that my remotes are breaking faster than when I started this channel. Sometimes it would take years for a remote to break. I always felt like when I started this channel as a remote viewer, that it was a very thick cloud. And sometimes like a couple months ago when I did a remote view and I was dealing with Russian bots, whoa, you can be all centered as much as you like, but if you get carried away by that energy, you got to take a week off. That stuff is really gnarly when you get into things like bots. But here's the thing I want you guys to take away. Everybody's flipping. I think it's over. You want to discuss it? Is anybody surprised at how this is playing out? Does anybody feel that the remotes missed the mark in some look, I am trying to be humble. If I screw up, let me know. I mean, I have screwed up in the past, but it just feels to me, remember that lucid dream vision kind of thing I had where people were surrounding, including Mark Meadows? Oh, that's right. In the vision, Mark Meadows was one of the people trying to take the phone away. So now that's what's come out. Remember, I had a vision, everybody was trying to take the phone away, and then one of the people in the vision was Mark Meadows. Now it's come out that Trump was calling people, including Mark Meadows, that his lawyers are calling the fog. So it came out. Isn't that weird? Other good things are going on. I mean, Pat Cipollone has flipped because he was compelled by a grand jury. Chris Miller is probably going to prison. As I said, Meghan Markle is going to make peace with the royal family because they woke up one morning, had a cup of coffee, and realized they were all liberals and they were all on the same page. So now they need to get organized. Stop arguing. You all agree with each other. It's like two Democrats arguing at the table. So exciting things in that direction. All right, and the last thing is expect more subpoenas from people at Fox News. We are going to be seeing charges of possible coordination, and we're going to see Sean Hannity cooperating with the feds going forward. All right, any questions about that? Last remote I want to give has to do with shelling between Gaza and Israel. Gaza was going to the Islamic Jihad, which is basically Iran. Iran set themselves up in Gaza and began firing on Israelis, but the Israelis fired first because they knew that Islamic Jihad had been setting up missiles on tops of buildings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, Putin had met with Iran prior to this attack, and so it appears that part of what Putin wanted was a military distraction. And so that remote looks like this. So you can see the meeting between him and Iran, the fact that he was discussing a military aid to Iran. Then the military went to their proxy army, Islamic Jihad, in order to create this distraction. Meanwhile, one of the errant missiles from Islamic Jihad fell off of the building where they were firing on and killed a kindergartner, and Israel is being blamed. But in the mess of war, can you really blame anybody? It's war. Anybody and everything is destroyed. But again, when you follow the strings, you see this meeting between Putin and Iran that happened prior, and you believe it was to plan this military operation as a potential distraction. Any questions about that? All right, and then the last two remotes, airports froze hirings during COVID, and so they're 2 years behind, 1.5 to 2 years behind in their hiring and hiring freezes. So the problems with the airports will probably be settled up by October. We're going to see a lot more hiring. So that'll be resolved. And then the last thing is expect Indiana and Ohio to go blue in the coming years as they react to some of the extremist policies. So the good news is we could be doing really well politically in Indiana and Ohio this fall. I'm seeing both of them potentially starting to move towards blue. That's all I have. Interesting, huh? Interesting remotes. Questions, comments, anybody who agrees or doesn't agree with my remotes, anybody who thinks that I'm bloody bonkers. I'm like Snooki. I am a hot mess. That's what I tell myself. People show up there like, who are you? Who she thinks she is? I think I am a hot mess. I love that line. I am a hot mess. Did y'all see Snooki trolling Dr. Oz? It's very funny. I'm bonkers. I know I am bonkers. But then sometimes I realize, like I sit in my sane moments and I think, you know, you really are not that crazy. You've got some bad habits. You know, sometimes being crazy is just bad habits, you know, having temper tantrums, that sort of thing. All right, I think we should do the empath's prayer. We'll go in, we'll give people a nice quick little weekly inspiration, and then let's do some blitzes. Does that work for everybody? Would everybody like to have a free reading for the collective for the week? Yeah. It'll start your week off right. I ain't ready to blitz, Miss Mel. I got to give you guys a reading, and I got to do the empath's prayer. All right, let's do it. So we're gonna do. Excuse me. You notice my cough's a little better. I washed this with soap and water. It was like a big furry mass of Mila. And so I couldn't figure out what the problem, and then I took this off clinging mass of whatever, and I washed it really, really well several times, and everything came off, and now I can breathe, and I'm not reacting to yeah, I know. I'm a very strange person. All right, so let's see. What are we doing here? We're doing empath prayer and collective reading. I didn't get to see what everybody's eating. Is anybody eating anything that's like so good for brunch that I should be jealous of you? Yeah. Is anybody doing anything like at a really like posh restaurant having poached Florentine or something like that? Turmeric baked chicken. Oh my God, that does sound nice. Copper broom. Rice porridge. Okay. Fresh plums. I have to go shopping today. I'll remember some. I want to get some nice fresh fruit. Shredded wheat. I love shredded wheat. I'm addicted to shredded wheat. And I love wheat germ. I used to eat tons of wheat germ. I don't know why. I just loved it when I was a kid. It's like nutty and I would put it on everything. And oh God, I love that. Iceberg wedge with blue cheese, the crunch, and oh, I love that. Yeah, Shavana, a hot mess. Ham and pineapple pizza. I love pineapple pizzas. Mhm. PB&J. Oh yeah, honey. Mhm. Eggs and sausage. Yum yum. Quesadilla. Hey, you just gave me an idea. I've got all the ingredients. Maybe I'll have that for lunch. I was going to bake some Italian meatballs made from turkey, turkey Italian meatballs. And I didn't have enough room in the thing that I was baking, so I shoved all the meatballs, and then when I baked it, and then I poured sauce that I had made on top, and when it came out, it was meatloaf. So I realized, oh, that's how meatloaf was invented probably, was people like shoving a bunch of meatballs and then just cooking it all together with a bunch of tomato sauce, and then you put it with the noodle and a little extra sauce, and that's what I did. Then I made some extra sauce. I was like, "Oh, what the heck?" So it was like I had a meatloaf and a pasta instead of meatballs and pasta. But if you do it with turkey and you bake instead of fry, you're really much lower fat content if you do occasionally have meat in your diet. Yeah. So I've been working my way through my Italian meatloaf. Delicioso. It was very delicious. All right, let's do the empath prayer. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. I love that prayer. Let's do it. Good things. We're all going to win the lottery. And then we're going to rent a boat. Yeah. Go on a cruise. Wouldn't that be fun? Ooh, Michael Brotzman's a chef. Honey, I'm coming to your place. Certified chef, Michael. Michael's going to be the one. He's going to create the menu for our party. What is the message from Spirit for all of us? Where we are at right now, many of us feel a little bit trapped by our situations. Things are a little bit scary. You know, we've talked about the fact, for example, and we will do blitzes. People are really worried. We've talked about August. It's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. I mean, you think about what's going on in the Ukraine right now, in Ukraine right now. It's hell. Can you imagine having to fight in the heat of that battle in the hottest time of the year? And they've struck that area with the nuclear power plant. So all of that has an effect on all of us. It has an effect on the collective, right? If we all are feeling it, where we're at right now, Eight of Swords, which can be a feeling that one is trapped, that they are trapped by their situation. However, you cannot escape the truth. Archangel Michael, the Page of Swords, which is the bearer of truth, comes in as our karma. It's also been called the Spies card because it's all about getting information. Where we are at right now, we are coming into our power in ways we have never been powerful before. What is crossing us? We're rebuilding. Some of us are fixing up our homes. Some of us are investing in real estate. But many of us are working on projects, taking our power and putting it towards the direction of we're constructing things, which means that we're in excuse me, in many ways, financially and emotionally in a better place than we've been in a long time. Our wishes have been granted. We have the wish card standing in the 4th house. So what we want is coming to fruition. It's interesting, sitting in a place of strength and health. So health becomes a major issue for us. They say take things slow, but be consistent. In some ways, you've slowed down, but that's also helped you become more consistent and steady in your work. I see many of us traveling and wishes being granted over travel. The travel card is coming to people. Much restriction here. You can see here also another card of restriction in the 7th house, the immediate environment, 9 of Swords. Others in relationship with us, mastery. The hope and the fear, strife, and also the fear of August. The month of August, we read wands literally as months. And then the final outcome is a new beginning for many of us, and many of you will not retire in the United States. I've seen this over and over and over again. It's too damn expensive. People are going nomadic. It's cheaper to be a nomad. So you have a 3 of Wands, which can be importing and exporting. Your ship has come in. Your wish has been granted. Whatever your wishes were prior for the community prayer, it would be an indication that whatever it is that you wish and desire for will be granted. Because you, again, to just reiterate, the wish being granted stands in the 4th house, which means that we are on the precipice of having something positive. It's something regarding what we've constructed and worked hard to attain. There is a caution to be very careful with romance and not to trust people romantically too much before you really know who they are, and not to just throw yourself into romance until you really have a good idea of who that individual is, because 10 of Swords and concerns about being restricted or contained or controlled or betrayed by others, particularly in romantic relationships in the past, could be something that causes people to become cautious going forward. But overall, with slow, steady reason and the ability to be clear about what it is you want out of life, as long as you remain open and are consistent in your efforts, and if you're honest with yourself, you'll be able to achieve what you like. Be careful of tricksters, con artists, and seducers. In the end, it goes back to this idea that we can only rely on ourselves. So still a great chart, but there is a lot of caution there about bringing new people into our lives. I think the solution is to keep things light, have fun, but not rely on people until you really know them well. And I think that that's kind of the lesson. Sometimes we jump into relationships and expectations before a relationship has really, before we know who somebody is. And that can be regretful. Anyway, that is the reading for the collective. More travel, more power, more people creating awesome things, more people doing awesome things. But be careful with who you trust. Alas, there are still jerks in the world. I gotta turn my air conditioner on. It's schwitzing. Oh, much better. Whew, I forgot to turn it on, and it's 11:42, so it's probably about 90 degrees now in this room. Well, I got the order to blitz, blitz, blitz away, so I guess I'm going to have to blitz. A Hug So Tight was asking about sleeper cell comfort on USA. I think so, because Joe put a bunch of money into transportation. Uncle Joe, President Biden. But the bullet trains are going to get rid of a lot of sleepers, because look what happened with between Kyoto and Tokyo. The sleeper trains are gone because they have bullet trains. You can be there in 2.5 hours. So so a lot of sleeper trains disappeared in Japan just because it's so fast now, the bullets. All right. All right. So we're going to go ahead and start with some blitzes. I'm going to go back and find some of the earliest questions. If you leave a question in the beginning, it will get lost. Just because when I open it up, the pre-questions disappear for whatever reason on the feed. I don't know why that is. So the copper broom, she wanted to know who's flipping and what's the time frame. I think it's already over. I think that, remember, I just keep going back to that lucid vision of all those men surrounding Trump while he's desperately calling people. And in the mayhem, I saw Meadows. And then I remembered thinking in the remote, this guy's going to be the fall guy. And now you have the intercepted conversation where the lawyer's like, hey, you shouldn't be calling the fall guy. So it's like, so he's going to have to plead guilty. If otherwise, he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. I think everybody's going to plead guilty. I can't imagine anybody, given how much evidence they have against them, is going to try and negotiate with the Justice Department at this point. I think when you are in front of a grand jury, you probably are going to start cooperating, which means it goes back to what the feds had said in the past, sealed deals. They couldn't understand why Bannon didn't want to go for it, because now what's happened to Bannon, Copper Broom, is that he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. You go into a remote. I always tell other psychics, go down and check for yourself. You go into the remote and you put yourself in the shoes of Steve Bannon doing 6 months in prison. Do you really think he thinks he's getting out of there? He's got 3, 4 different charges. He's got multiple charges in multiple places, multiple states. He's also potentially facing questioning in Europe. They want to talk to him in Europe regarding some stuff. This guy's never going to get out. That's the fear of Bannon. And he's right. He won't. So Jay wants to know about Navalny. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at Navalny. And much appreciation to everyone who's donated to the charity we have today. It's really, I'm very appreciative. Thank you. He's not dead. Did someone say he was dead? I don't get that. No, it would be foolish to kill him because once you kill him, you no longer have a bargaining chip. So, in fact, I think it's extremely uh, a mistake for them to put him in bad physical condition because he's such a powerful negotiation with the West. You can see Ace of Rods in his seventh house. So there are actually negotiations going on, not just with the United States, I want to say. When I go into this energy, when I remote view, this is Britain. Britain, it's almost like Britain and the EU are trying to negotiate the release of Navalny. So it's not just, we can't assume that it's just the United States that has an interest in getting Navalny. The other in relationship to Navalny, look, Six of Cups, which would be to negotiate a trade, and we're in a strong position. So the other who you have opposition with, eighth house, is in a strong position for negotiation. This is why I would be surprised if Navalny was passed, but perhaps he is. Hopes and fears that there won't be a deal, that he will die in prison. He'll die with his secrets. There's a secrets issue there, that he may have been, that he'll be snuffed out secretly. Remember, Queen of Pentacles is all about the secrets. She is the holder of the secrets. This is why if you're looking for a card for the FBI, I choose the Queen of Pentacles, because the Queen of Pentacles is can be an institution, will often have a female, a ship will be female, an institution, female, that is the holder of secrets, often investigating cases like financial crimes, etc. So I picked the Queen of Pentacles. You may choose to pick something else. So keeper of secrets, etc., and death is the fear. And then the final outcome would indicate that he may survive. We have a Six of Wands, which would be victory within 6 months, a potential release, and then Eight of Wands. The thing is, they tried to kill him once before. However, that was before they see, a lot of the times you think everybody's on your side, and then you're shocked that there's an opposition. And I think that Russia, there's a lot of attention on Navalny right now. I think it would be a mistake to harm him. That's not to say this hasn't happened, but Six of Wands is a victory card. And again, I read wands literally as months. So victory within 6 months. Eight of Wands could be rapid. It's also the time of August. The fact that there was a Six of Cups there in the opposition's house leads me to think that he's a strong bargaining chip, and we could be see some kind of negotiations over the next 6 months. Make sense? I know. What do y'all think about that? All right, so I have a question from Linda Hepburn. She wants to know if China will eventually invade Taiwan. Let's take a look. The relationship between Taiwan and China. Since their takeover of Hong Kong has been so successful, you understand sarcasm. But you said it was going to be gentle communism. You lied, right? Let's take a look. I'm getting nervous. See, she loved living in America when he was younger. So it's kind of, you put me in a bad situation, America. So she is between a rock and a hard place. She is a guy who, when he was younger, got to go live in America for, I don't know how many years. Where did he live? He lived in Wyoming or Iowa. He lived in the heartland. And he said it was the happiest time in his life. It changed his life forever. She living in the heartland. learning English, reading American writers. His favorite writer is Jack London. It's amazing the things you can learn about someone from Wikipedia. So, how he feels, how she feels about the situation is, damn, America, I really like you. I have happy memories. I still stay in contact with my host family. Come on, you done me wrong. Now I'm going to look bad in front of my countrymen. You've tied me to knot because they're expecting me to do something. And they've always been slightly suspicious of my affections for the United States because I came of age in America. Nice fan. He talked about how amazingly kind the people were in Iowa to him. So this is somebody who has an extremely he really likes America. Come on, fess up, you love us. You put me in a really bad situation. That is kind of how I feel as she is like, come on, man, you put me in a situation. Can you help me out? So now it's America saying to she, you want to know what this is really about? It's about something that the Americans don't know anything about. So let me go ahead as Biden. This is Biden to she. No honey, no money. So this is actually a money issue. No honey, no money. She. So they're negotiating trade deals. We do a lot of trade with China. America is all over China. It's all propaganda BS. You can go and get McDonald's. Bank of America is in the Forbidden City. It's the underwriter that paid to rebuild it. I mean, we are deep in China. And I've been to China. And I would say 9 times out of 10, the Chinese thought we were great. They hung out with me. I took when I go to a country, I become completely submerged. I get on the public buses. I hang out. I eat sweet potatoes on the street with the locals, and they thought we were great. This China you're putting us in a situation. If you want to continue to be hardline, if you want to continue to support Putin in his massacre of Europe, if you want to secretly do deals with Russia that that we know about, if you want to continue to look, we know about the spies trying to get vaccine information, etc. Come on, that's corporate spying. Everybody does it. But this is about negotiations. We go with our strategic partners, Taiwan, and we're talking about what? Our security, the West security. So this is not just about sticking the finger to China. It's saying, Russia's finished. Are you in or are you out? So it's not just about Taiwan. It's about future trade between China and the United States. So there's also coming up that there'll be future meetings between China and Xi regarding trade between the two countries. The hope and the fear is a star, which is, but here's the thing. From Xi's perspective, he really didn't like the conversation. It went on for 2.5 hours, his conversation with Biden. They Zoomed, or the equivalent of what they do to Zoom. I feel as Xi, like, who the hell are you to come in? This is our country. Taiwan used to be part of us. This is me as Xi, and you're coming and giving me ultimatums. I'm pissed. I am pissed. Imagine if another country was doing business with Alaska and we lost Alaska and they became independent, and now they're wheeling and dealing with Alaska and putting our security at risk. You're going to be pretty angry. So he's pretty damn pissed. He's very angry. What the hell are you doing? Why'd you do this, man? You know damn well that we have trade together. So Knight of Swords does not bode well. So we know that he was shooting missiles. They were shooting. We're just exercising. It's more than that with the Knight of Swords as an outcome. Anybody want to talk about that? He's very pissed. But he's also between a rock and a hard place. I mean, his dad was jailed because they suspected he was an anti-communist. He himself suffered, and then he went to live in America. So there's an aspect to Xi when you go into this. His father was imprisoned, where they never really were. There's a population of old guard that saw Xi as progressive and bought by the West, which is not how we see him in America. But in China, when you go into this energy, we were never really quite sure of you. You have that weird connection with America. And it has this, because he does have this connection with America, and because he has made so much money for China off of these trade deals, of course he feels angry, pissed off, betrayed, etc. The clarification for Xi: you really screwed me over financially. China is in financial trouble. Look at that. You're really screwing us up here, people. What are you going to do? Buy stuff from Taiwan? What are you doing, America? So, no money, no honey. We were thinking about our safety and strength. You screwed yourself up when you started siding with Putin, having secret meetings with him. You put yourself in this situation. Hopes and fears, secrets again. Also, things have been very bad since the whole COVID, the stealing of information. They're completely confused. At this point, she doesn't know what to do. He's angry, he's pissed off, and their finances are a mess. I told you, China has to fall. You follow the energy. I'm telling you, I always tell people, if you don't believe me, learn the technique. HCRV, we teach it. We have free classes on our playlist. Go down and check for yourself. Never believe what I say. Do your own work. China always collapses when I follow the energy forward. It does not take over the world. Quite the opposite. Who could afford an operation like this? Imagine how much it costs to maintain China's current operation. They have done this to themselves. Does that look like people that are taking over the world? Their housing is collapsing. They've lost a ton of business because of COVID. Their relations with America are worse than they've been in a very long time. And they've done it to themselves. They expanded too rapidly. Their opposition is doing fine. Two of Pentacles, trade, money back and forth, wheeling and dealing, questionable behavior, no money, no honey. America's strong. His hope and his fear, the secrets, the spying, the star, and then the final outcome, they're confused and violent. Look, I think what I see is that in fall of 2022, there will be what appears to be another meeting of the WTO and the powers that be. Appears in this remote, based on this energy, that's going to be happening around fall of 2022, and that will help clear this confusion that I'm feeling. Look, you can read the cards. It's She's cards are not good. The only way we're going to get through this with China is I'm seeing some kind of conference or summit taking place around October. And when that happens, hopefully the U.S. and Xi can work it out, because it's look, what we said about August. People get hot, they get pissed off, they get uncomfortable, and then you got a war going on, and you have this. You follow the energy. It's not good. We got to cool everybody down, and it's not even peaked yet. It peaks in mid-August. It's bad now. They've hit out near the nuclear site 3 times. They've damaged. We got cool. We're not even at August 15th yet. The main ground offensive hasn't even happened yet. That's what I'm saying. Everybody the energy, I don't like this energy over the Midwest. It's 102 degrees in freaking Wyoming. That's also very dangerous. You have isolated, angry people. The political situation is very volatile. Again, it does not bode well when you follow the energy. So we have to just cool, everything cool. I don't like the energy. But how positive could China's energy be given the fact that we're seeing the collapse of China? And again, the remote viewers, not the ones that were watching the stupid, you know, YouTube channels where China will take over the world. Come on, folks. I'm talking about real trained HCRV people. When they follow the finances, it's not sustainable. I'm talking about no emotion attached, none of this woo-woo, silly YouTube channels. I'm talking about just energetic looking at their financial plan and stepping back and following the energy. Oh, they're going to collapse. One major event like COVID, but then COVID was bad enough, but that really screwed up their trade. But then a war, and they've been spending trillions, so it wasn't sustainable. So when the remote viewers oversaw the finances and when they saw how much they had expanded, they all came to most of the people that I spoke to is like, oh, they're going to go belly up. And that's what's happened. So no, they're not taking over the world. They're collapsing. And my fear is that if certain rural areas collapse back into like feudalism, etc., I don't want that for China. So we want everybody to be in a good place, right? We don't want something like that happening. All right, so a hug so tight has a question. Will more green measures take place outside the infrastructure bill to further help switch to the green economy? Absolutely 100%, because again, when you go into the energy of the trade organizations, the international trade organizations, the Paris Accord, etc., where new business is headed, where the laws are headed, we knew that the old dirty industries of coal, etc., were going to go belly up because they didn't have any customers. So the customer is going to be what? The United States fueling a dirty industry that no longer is viable to anybody but the United States because you want to sell coal. It's not, that's like saying we're going to continue to have coal run trains from the 1880s because you need a job. And that's what happened to the United States. And so again, what happened with remote viewers is that they just followed the energy. You want to know the truth, most remote viewers work in finance, the real remote viewers. And they look at things like this, economic collapses and things like that. And so it wasn't just that China wasn't sustainable, it's that the old industries were not sustainable because they had no market value. So that's why remote viewers will go in and will work for people like picking stocks and stuff like that. I've never done it. I never did it because I was a goody two-shoe. And then a year and a half ago, I decided what the heck, I was going to just invest in green economy because that's what my remote views were showing. And that's what basically we say here. It's because the old economies just they're old. We don't travel like that anymore. It's like now they have flying taxis in Los Angeles. Joby. So I bought Joby at $4 a share because when I did a remote view, I saw that people were not going to feel safe going in taxis without a driver. And I knew where the technology was headed. So I bought Joby at $4 a share. I'm not going to get rich, but my nephew will be. When I die in 50 years, he'll be rich because everybody will be flying cars, Joby cars. And all right. Let's look at the future of Ron DeSantis. You know, I found some weird stuff. I probably should make more of an effort with him, but there was some weird corruption going on in Florida, for example, with those mega yachts. And now it's breaking that there was a Russian oligarch stationed in with his mega yacht in Florida that was bribing politicians. I can't keep up. And so DeSantis, his energy crossed these investigations. So what's that about? Did he witness something? Did he himself take money from? Let's find out. Everywhere is a green boom because there's no other economy, which is why people in Wall Street are confused and they're just walking around in a cloud, not understanding what the market is doing. But remote viewers understand what the market is doing. It's just an old economy collapsing, just like what happened in the Renaissance. It's scary if you make your money that way. But if you knew this was coming and you started pulling back and investing in green stocks, green economy, starting a business that's green, that's non-toxic, you're going to be fine because you had 4 or 5 years to prepare. But if you don't know where this is coming from, I think it would be absolutely terrifying because you don't understand the market. You don't understand what's happening. Why did all my stocks collapse? That's why they can't keep oil high for very long. They can temporarily put it high, but the truth of the matter is there are plenty of people producing oil, more oil than we actually need. Norway's got oil. Get oil from Norway. Iran's got oil. Everybody's got oil. Alaska's got oil. Texas has got oil. The southwestern United States, California, everybody's got oil. Nobody wants oil anymore, which is why that's another thing. I would not be surprised if we start to see $2-3 a gallon within the next couple months because the truth of the matter is we've got too much oil. The prices are inflated. Isn't that crazy? People don't need it anymore. People are buying Teslas. You know, that's what's wrong with the Republican Party, too. They fell into chaos and crazy simply to hold on to dying industries. That's what happened. So where we're at right now with Ron DeSantis, I want to repeat what I said, that it feels to me that there is a Department of Justice criminal investigation and he's in the middle of it. Yeah, so he screwed up. Whether or not his political career can survive his screw up, you know, that's the question. Justice Department is over him. So his first house, he's got the Justice Department right over him regarding criminal actions, bribes, etc., of officials that were taking place in Florida. We talked about this. It's on top of him. He presents in the presents in the cards as a king of rods. The king of rods is read with shame and embarrassment, which means that they're going to be publicly outed and shamed for something that they did. So you can read the cards. The Justice Department is interested in speaking to a man whose face is red, burning, embarrassed because they were caught doing something. So it within 1 month, 30 days. It results in his popularity crashing. He has 30 days before it's leaked. Does anybody want to talk about it? I guess another drink. So it's coming up again, and it's being very precise here that this is part of a Justice Department criminal investigation that had been going on before. They've already arrested one oligarch. There's more involved. There's 2 or 3 other people in high positions of power. We also talked about the fact that when we accessed information about properties that had been purchased because people were laundering money, they'd been purchased, Trump properties, other properties. Those properties are now abandoned. When I accessed information, the Akashic field on that, it appeared that those that many properties which have now been taken over by the feds, they've gone in and taken over those properties, some of which were sold by Trump, were abandoned. So we have a lot of abandoned properties now under federal investigation, and the people who bought them, their whereabouts are unknown at this time. Anybody want to talk about that? Sometimes I just deliver the remotes and then I hear the remote, like the part of me that's just a regular person, and I think, oh my freaking God, my job is just to give the remote. But then I can't help. I'm only human. There's a part of me that's like, oh my God, they did that. Like, Justice Department shouldn't have done it. Oh my God. Hopes and fears is happening within 1 month. He's ruined. I don't know what it was. He's finished. It's a light on top of him. Shouldn't have done it, man. He and his friends are getting charged with an actual crime, and we're actually going to see this. This is going to be public information with actual charges by April of 2023. Within 1 month, it'll be public information by April of 2023. Looks like there could be a charge or a trial of some type. He's finished. They're building a case against him. He actually broke the law. You can see it here. Justice Department building a case, ruining. You can see it's over. Here's the Justice Department. Here's the evidence against. Here's DeSantos. Win within 1 month. Possible charges, and we could be seeing something by April of 2023. He's finished. He's in on it. It's interesting. People say, well, is Trump going to win the nominee? No, Trump's not going to win the nominee because Trump is a criminal and DeSantis is a criminal. And Florida was deep in Russia's pocket. And then you have Cuba deep in Russia's pocket. So you have Cuban people that were politically involved, that were also, it's a mess. So on the one hand, they're talking conservative and taking money from Russia. But then on the other hand, they're working for Russia, pro-Cuba on behalf of Russia. So it gets to be very like, huh? Well, Don's not going to be running. And Ron DeSantis is being charged with crimes of collaboration with a foreign government and also taking money from questionable sources. And also he's a witness because he witnessed crimes, and that's why the Justice Department wants to talk to him. And this is going to come out within 30 days. So we can do what we always do, eat the popcorn and wait for it to blow up. It's going to be so much fun. It always is. Who will win the RNC? God, I have no idea. I have no idea. Let's look at Governor Abbott's future. Oh, I think we're going to have to finish pretty soon. It's already 12:15. Let's look at Governor Abbott's future, and then we'll call it a day. It was fun today, wasn't it? Did everybody have fun? It was a good brunch, right? All right. Future of Greg Abbott. He thinks it's absolutely ridiculous that anybody, here's Abbott talking. He thinks it's absolutely ridiculous that people would think that it was criminal for him to try and get good deals for Texas. You're investigating me because of financial deals that I did with businesses because I thought it would be good for Texas, and I don't think that that's a criminal act. This is what Greg Abbott is saying. You can see here, Dirty Trickster is his first house where he's at, money back and forth. This is something we see over and over again every time we go into the energy of Texas, is that they've got corruption in finance, dirty business, and here again, 6 of Cups. So this guy's got dirty money dealings. So when you meditate and you put yourself in his shoes, what you hear is, of course, I'm trying to encourage business in Texas. It's my job as governor of Texas to get businesses to make Texas attractive for business. Well, that seems reasonable until you get to the 8th house. No, the sun is coming out regarding some kind of criminal acts. So this isn't about, well, I took the deals or I'm being friendly to businesses to encourage them to. Yes, you are, but you're doing some other stuff also. And that's what's under criminal investigation, the hope and the fear. Judge Judy. My way. Boom, boom. Again, facing criminal charges regarding his financial dealings. What, are they all corrupt? Look. There's the jail card. Here's the money card. Secrets of money, right? Page of Pentacles is a messenger. It's also Archangel Gabriel, if you read the archangels. Writing, communication, ground, communication. But it's a money card. Jail. He's corrupted. Those are the cards. You saw me shuffle. So I think that, we have a Justice Department that's doing its job. And so consequently, if you broke the law, you will face criminal charges. And I think that the Justice Department has gotten really tired of some of the antics they see in Texas. One of the things, for example, is they've been selling deals, government contracts, state contracts to foreign businesses, and then those businesses get into government information and then hand it over to foreign governments. That's one of the things that's been linked back to Texas and these private business deals, was that it compromised American security. And it's just one of the problems that happens when you take, instead of the government doing it, you get a government contract with with a private company that may not have the best security. And again, that gets linked back to Greg Abbott. So then the question becomes, was Greg Abbott just foolish by opening all this stuff, all these state and federal contracts to questionable businesses? Or was it more nefarious than that? And that is the investigation that's coming out over Greg Abbott in the coming months. All right. I hope everybody had as much fun as I had. I always have fun being with you folks on Sunday. If you try to get in for a reading with me, please reach out to me. I would love to give you a reading through tarotwithwhimsy.com. If you just want to have a pre-taped, a quick reading, it's about 5 minutes, you can do that through Wizio. Wizio is a service where we pre-tape things. So we have that option as well. Okay, thank you, everyone. Please make sure to support the other readers. We got some good people coming on. I know that Linda does a lot of stuff on Sundays. I try to check out her stuff, maybe some other readers as well. All right, stay cool, stay safe. Yes, cinema is another one. Boy, I hope she leaves as soon as possible. I'm not a fan of cinema. Thank you, Debbie, for doing that for me. Always really helpful. All right, it was awesome. See you guys next time. Tuesday, we have open class. If you are a member, we're going to be doing Introduction to HCRV. It's an open class, and then in, when is it starting up again? Next month, I think is September 18th. I have to check the date. We're starting our 10-week course up for people who want to be trained remote viewers. Everything will be ready to go, so you will be able to receive your booklet, your training booklet, which I'm working on right now. I finally am starting to get things organized. So be patient. We're ready to go. Next Tuesday, though, at 5 p.m., we have a 1-hour open session answering all your questions about HCRV. It is open to the public. We hope you'll be able to attend. And we'll also be doing some mini demonstrations so that you can kind of find out if you really have what it takes to join us in remote viewing. All right. Be well, everyone. See you on Tuesday.